morning. It's 5 o'clock. I think I'm gonna go on a little adventure on my day off. I haven't shaved because it's my day off, but I figured I would film this and take you with me in hopes that maybe you'd want to see some of these places. My day off aim was to drive the 2.5 hours to celebrate Mass at Immaculate Conception Parish in Osceola Mills, Pennsylvania, the parish church where our Donald Maxwell got his start. Thanks to Catholic Charities of the Diocese of Erie, we have handwritten letters from Reverend Michael J. Renehan, who first wrote to Sister Mary Angela of St. Joseph's Home for Children on April 16, 1930, only 3 days after Donald Maxwell was born. I have about 2.5 hours in the car before I can even get to Osceola Mills, but I've managed to print off a lot of the paperwork that Catholic Charities of the Diocese of Erie has provided Mom. And I've got this fresh baked bread that I made, and so we're just gonna light it up today. Father Renehan's letter reads, "A Protestant man came to me this morning and told me a sad tale of his unmarried and only daughter. He was heartbroken and would not tell this to anyone outside of a celibate priest. He asked me if I would not help him out in this hour of trouble and send the baby to a Catholic institution." That heartbroken Presbyterian was John B. Maxwell, father of Kathleen, the mother of Donald. As far as any documentation can prove, Dominic Simino, the father of 3-day-old Donald, was nowhere to be consulted. The next document in the folder is Donald's admittance record, stating that he was brought to the orphanage 3 days after Father Renehan's letter. We'll likely never know if this parish priest ever told another soul of John B. Maxwell's secret, but today I wanted to celebrate a Mass for this priest at the church where this all began. So I just finished celebrating Mass at Immaculate Conception Parish in Osceola Mills, and the resident church lady gave me all this sort of intel. Tina passed along this parish centenary, which has a little bit of the history of the parish, and this is what the archive says about the priest who took in Donald Maxwell on that fateful day on April 16, 1930. Father Michael J. Renehan was summoned from the neighboring parish of St. Mary's in Frenchville to be pastor of Osceola Mills. The Great Depression soon made its impact felt on the area, and the burden of debt was oppressive to the pastor and the people. Father Renehan succumbed to strain and sickness on January 23, 1934, and is buried in the priest's plot in our cemetery. With the scarcity of Catholic churches in the Erie Diocese in the 1930s, it's likely that Osceola Mills was the closest Catholic institution for John B. Maxwell to consult when finding a home for his grandson. Mr. Maxwell's correspondence with the orphanage lists his address at 115 South 3rd Street, a 30-minute drive from the Catholic parish. So I took my fresh baked bread and headed to the home where Grandpa would have spent up to 6 days of his life. So one thing that really amazes me about Father Renehan is that in his letter to the Mother Superior of the orphanage, he documents that meeting with John B. Maxwell and his daughter talking about Grandpa. And the father of Kathleen Maxwell came in on April 16th, 3 days after Grandpa was born. And then after writing the letter to the Mother Superior, Father Renehan was able to get Grandpa into the orphanage 3 days after that meeting. And so it's just kind of amazing. People come to my office all the time asking me for stuff. I don't have a magic wand. I don't have a surplus of time. And yet, in 1930, a parish priest was able to make contact with an orphanage to get Grandpa into the care of the sisters, which is just amazing to me. Without phones, without the technology that we have today. I'm a lazy piece of crap. I can't do anything in 3 days. Wow. So I dedicated a course to John B. Maxwell, the Presbyterian who was favorable to Catholics, thanking him for my priesthood. The bartender was a little bit more than just weirded out by the fact that I just rolled up and ordered a Coors Light. But I told him I'd be back. I don't know when, but I'll be back. But there's still one piece of the puzzle of this pilgrimage that maybe will never be answered, and that is, how did Grandma Barca come into the picture, being from a very far distance from the orphanage at St. Joseph's? It was time to do a quick drive-by to visit the sharpest of all Pennsylvania's small towns, Sharpsville, PA, where Donald Maxwell spent his later schooling years with the Barca family. 2 hours passed quickly, but the close proximity of the Barcas to the steel mills of Youngstown, Ohio, had me asking so many questions on the way home. Did Grandpa ever visit the same places I visit in Youngstown? Are we to gain anything helpful in this rummage through history? Why would God have it this way? I don't think he'd have it any other way.
Good afternoon, Father Frassati. This is a phone call from Pennsylvania. My name is Nancy Simino, and I understand my friend Tina Warner in Osceola Mills spoke with you about some interesting possible family connections. So I wanted to reach out to you and let you know I would be more than happy to talk with you, maybe do a little research with you, and find out if there's any connection.